the top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of cover prices data. That is right, real data, sales data, comic book sales that go into this top 10 hottest comics of the week. Cover Price releases their data, their list, their top 10 list every Monday. Our show is live on a Friday. We like to go into that list, give our top 10, give the top 10, and then Chris dives in with his 3 most interesting picks from that list. We will get into that in a second. Pat, this is a hot segment, I'm telling you, man, because they are the hottest comics of the week. Here we go. We're going to get right into it right now. It is an interesting list. I have to say, interesting list this week. At number 10, we have Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Number 1, the first appearance of Teresa Parker. Number 9, we have Spawn. Number 9, the first appearance of Angela. She has a unique history. She's now a Marvel character. At number 8, Spawn, number 1. At number 7, The Nice House on the Lake, number 1. What do you know? I just showed that book. At number, not that one specifically. That's the 1 in 25. At number 6, we have Thor, number 2, the first appearance of Jane Foster as Thor. Number 5, we have Red Thor, number 1. At number 4, we have Basilisk, Basilisk, number 1, the Shark Virgin variant. At number 3, we have The Nice House on the Lake, number 1. That's the one I have. At number 2, the Blackjack Demon, Literati Press, 2021. And at number 1, Kate Bishop herself, Hawkeye, number 1 from 2016. There are a lot of interesting books here. Jack, your first impressions on this top 10 list, though. What sticks out to you before we get into Chris's most interesting picks, 3 most interesting picks of the week?
I mean, the Hawkeye for sure. Haley Steinfeld's one of my favorite, celebrity crush / anything she does. I watch and like, you know. So I did like Bumblebee. So don't trash that.
That was great. Yo, Bumblebee was really good.
Good. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see like the whole Young Avengers form. So like, I'm really pumped for Hawkeye, number 1. That's the one that stuck out to me for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's number 1 too. So it stuck out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Chris, what stuck out for you? You have 3 picks here. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a very kind of a fun list. You know, I know some of the past weeks have been a bit controversial in some way or another. You know, this was just some fun books. My number 3 pick.
By the way, I have an announcement to make.
Yes.
And Pat, Dan De La Torre has beef with you.
Me?
Yeah, it's true.
What I do?
The only problem I have with Pat is he's disgustingly handsome. He's making us all look bad.
Oh,
shame on you, Pat.
Yeah, I just cut my hair too. I used to have hair down to like here. You know, if you look at the old Pat Cave episodes, people, it's like, let's just say I did look better at one point, but
All right, moving on. I just had to throw that out there. I didn't want to get lost in the mix here. All right, moving on. Chris, what do you got? First, most interesting pick of the week.
All right. Where was I? All right, number 3. I had to go with some Spawn love, man. I picked Spawn number 1. I still remember buying this book off the shelf. I still have my copy, and it's the error copy. That's a whole other story. I get a laugh out of that. But look, Spawn has done something and is still doing something that no other character in its realm has done. It's the longest ongoing independent title. Todd McFarlane just knows what he's doing. He's kept the price down at $2.99 for this book. And now Spawn Universe is driving Spawn Mania, man. And this book made this list with a 124% increase in value and with a high CGC 9.8 sale of $363. I don't know where I was. Was it a live stream or in one of my comments? Somebody was like, Spawn number 1 should never be more than a $20 book. And again, I'm sorry when people say stuff like this book shouldn't be worth that much or this book should only be worth this much. I can't stand that. It's a pet peeve for me. And you know, no offense to anybody, but come on, like, look, books from this era are getting hot right now for a reason, and you got to understand what's been going on with Spawn. Todd McFarlane is a living legend. He is still creating around this character in such a unique way. I think the Spawn universe, you know, it's going to definitely be a hit that continues to bring collectors to this character. And what happens when collectors are pulled into a character? They go after the first appearance. It's not just because they want to speculate or they want to buy it to flip. No, I remember being a kid, and when I got into a character, I wanted to find all the big books surrounding that character. All right. And that's what's happening with Spawn right now. And I absolutely love it. I am still subscribed to, I get my Spawn every month. I get my Spawn book every month.
Yeah. I mean, what they did, and by they, I mean Tom McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, who am I missing? Eric Larson. What they did, they left at the height of their careers from Marvel to create their own properties. And for Spawn to continue to go on for what are we talking? Are we seriously talking 30 years, Chris?
Coming up on 30 years. Yep.
Jesus, man. To do that on your own property, like continuously release. They didn't have any hiatuses or anything, right?
Yep.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. And they're starting to build out and build more of a universe, even though I really believe there is a universe there already. It's just incredible, and who knows what's going to happen with the movie, if he's going to be directing and writing and all that stuff. It's back and forth. I know he's probably written the script. He's done with that, but it's just incredible. It is incredible what they've done. Pat, I want your thoughts on that.
You know, Spawn, I can remember being in like Tower Records in the Bay Area. And
Tower Records, wow.
Yes.
And I remember seeing the Spawn VHS and being like, and I think my dad showed me like the movie, but I remember being freaked out by Spawn, right? So it's like, I always had that in the back of my head, like Spawn is freaky to me, like scary to me, right? But then since I've started collecting and stuff and started hearing about it, I mean, I can't wait to see him come to the big screen again or do a series. But I mean, that's the number one? Was that on the list, that book? Oh, I didn't see it.
That was I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
Before I do, X11 Bravo Comics has a question. Is that the one missing black ink from the cover? No. That's the inside of the cover. There's, I guess you would call it a variant, but it's really a mistake, and everybody went crazy for it a couple months ago. But that's not specific. We're just talking Spawn 1 in general is just what we're talking about.
Right.
But I'll bring up the top 10 list again. Yeah. That was number 9. I'm sorry, number 8. By the way, there's 2 Spawn books here. That was number 8. So
the colors are amazing. I mean,
God, that cover is iconic. It's outstanding.
I gotta learn.
Anyway,
I gotta learn more about Spawn for sure.
I mean, he is a living legend. Is absolutely a way to put it, and I enjoy everything he's done. By the way, I think they announced this today. A Sam and Twitch series is greenlit. I'm not sure where it's going to be shown or what have you, but I don't know what Sam and Twitch's first appearance was, but I'm sure that'll be on the list. I really believe that'll be on the list next week. Anyways, moving on, Chris. Your second most interesting pick of the week. What do you got? All
right. My number 2. So this is a pick that it shows me, again, and I always try to add context to why I pick these books and why they make the list. This book is on this list because people care about a good writer and a good story. And a good writer and a good story sells comics. My number 2 pick is The Nice House on the Lake, number 1. Jeff, you showed it off in Fresh from the Comic Shop. Real awesome cover here. Tinian is just on fire. And you know what else is on fire? The horror genre. I think we had at least 2 other books on the top 10 that were in the horror genre. The 1 in 25 variant of this book made the list as well. But we'll just talk about the standard cover of this book. Here's DC. You know, under the DC label, taking a different approach here with the horror genre book. And like I said, Tinian, who's been a writing success as of late in anything he touches right now. Let's look at the numbers of what this book has done. 119% increase in sales since its release. $14 high raw, right? So, you know, I mean, there's demand for it, even though it's still a new book. It's not, like I say, though, demand for these new books, it doesn't always mean that, like, the price is skyrocketing. It's just a lot of copies are being sold. And it sold enough copies to be number 3 on the list. It's my number 2 pick, but it was number 3 in the top 10. So again, the highlight of this book, and I love when I can talk about books in my picks on these top 10 shows, where I can not point a finger at these type of people or not, belittle these type of people, because I'm all about having conversations and respecting other people's opinions, but I want to open their minds. And the people that I'm talking about are the people that are so in their tunnel vision of, comic books are dying. There's no good stories anymore. There's no good art. And the only people buying comics are flippers and speculators and all this stuff. And I always have to take these situations to shove in their faces like, look, take a step back, get outside of your tunnel vision and look at this. This book is on this list because of good writing and people wanting to read a good story. Point blank, period. That's my humble opinion about it. Jeff, I want to know what your thoughts are when you read this book. I don't even know if I picked it up. I hope I did. If I didn't, I might go and just get the digital copy, because I'm really, anything that Tinian's doing right now is piquing my interest.
There's a lot of that going on these days, and this is something we talk about, the strength of the market, where a book is hot because of the book, not because of media, not because of anything like that. James Tinian is definitely one of those people with the stuff he's producing. I mean, Something's Killing the Children is just dominating the indie scene, right? And obviously, Department of Truth, there's rumors there that it's already been picked up by a production company. Well, it has been picked up by a production company, which is one step closer to getting it greenlit by whatever platform or network it's going to premiere on. But it just goes to show, again, the strength of good writing, good art, good producing a comic book, what that will do in the secondary market. We've seen a lot of examples of that. I'm not sure if you're into like the horror genre at all, Pat, but this is, it's the Black Label, which is an offshoot of DC. That's who's publishing it. And again, Tinian is his Batman's awesome. His Batman is awesome.
Now, is this the same? Like, I'm not into horror at all. Just put that out there. I have very vivid nightmares, so it's like if I won't go to that. But anyway, I don't do scary movies. I don't do, like I said, Spawn scared me as a kid. But anyway, no, that's a really creepy cover. Love it. Sounds like a good story. I told you guys earlier I'm not the biggest reader, so but the art, amazing. I know, is the Black Label the same stuff that's doing like all the metal stuff in DC? Or
no, that's a multiverse of DC. So that's DC proper. But Black Label is like more. It's like their indie label, I would say. Is that fair, Chris?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. They have more reign to go out, go outside of the superhero genre, go, kind of push boundaries, go a little darker on some things.
Yeah.
More the mature reader type. I'm with you too, Pat. I'm not really big on, especially movies like horror. Yeah. But what I like about this is like, look, comic books, even though it may not be like your cup of tea or my cup of tea, it shows that comic books can deliver no matter what genre they're being produced in.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to check it out, man. I will, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to read it. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. But I'm psyched I got it. I didn't realize it was going to be like that hot. Mike from my local comic shop, the manager, is just like, just take this, please. Yeah, I had to pay for it. But he's just like, he's good with his recommendations. All right, Chris, your final pick of the week from this top 10 hottest comics. So it's basically your hottest comic. No, it's not. That's not true. You always bring up valid points at why, because sometimes you're like, this shouldn't be hot. But anyways, go ahead, Chris.
True. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's why I said, and we've had a lot about that lately, but these are fun. These are fun so far. And my number one pick was the number one book on the list. And it's Hawkeye #1, the 2016 series, the first solo title for, yours truly right there, who we are seeing in the Hawkeye show, Kate Bishop, just, getting hot right now. And this is the thing, and Cover Price talks about their books. Once they release their, weekly lists, they talk about what's going on. Something has something been optioned? Has there been an announcement? Is something rumored? And they went on to talk about this book. It's like, well, there's not much going on with this book. but we got this character coming up in an MCU TV show, right? What does that speak to me? First off, it speaks to me to the power of the MCU, obviously, but why this book? And I believe it's because of something that I always talk about. Second best options. People are getting priced out of Young Avengers right now. All right? Young Avengers #1. First appearance of Kate Bishop in the Young Avengers team. When you get priced out of something like that, you start looking at other things. And I know there's like Young Avengers, I believe, 7, where she like shows up on the cover in the suit the first time. And I think, is it maybe 11 where she actually gets called Hawkeye? I don't know. I might have
you're on. It's those roundabout issues. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And those books have been getting hotter too, and you've seen them increase in value as well. But this is another one. And look, depending on where the Hawkeye TV series goes, this book right here could possibly have more pull in the long run in terms of the demand and the eyes on the book next to some of those later number, Young Avengers. But again, a second best option. That's what I look at this book. Besides the fact, this is a really cool cover. I love the circle in the background. For those that know me, I love books that have like circles or borders. And this cover to me is very reminiscent to one of my holy grails, Amazing Spider-Man 129, with a yellow cover and the person standing there, but instead of a sniper, it's just a circle in the background. She's got her bow and arrow. But again, look, this is a book that I think people are just going after because they can't wait for this character to show up in the MCU, and a lot of people are being priced out of that first appearance. But look at these numbers: 186% increase in sale in a high CGC, 9.8 to $329. So another thing to focus on, and you can focus on the Spawn book that I talked about as well, with the 9.8 selling for almost $400. These 9.8s right now, 9.8s are in demand. They are in demand. It doesn't matter if it's a modern book from 5 years ago, if it's a Spawn book from 1992, if it's a Marvel book like a Ghost Rider 28 that hit over $500 off of some bogus possible rumors. It doesn't matter if it's a 1990 book with the Uncanny X-Men 282, first cover and first cameo of Bishop that broke over the $500 mark. The thing right now with the 9.8s is that supply and demand is specific to 9.8s. And right now there's a lot of collectors, a lot of investors, a lot of people looking at 9.8 specifically. And the demand is extremely, super exceeding the supply available. So why do you think the CGC and these grading companies are backlogged so much? Because you got a lot of books coming in trying to get those 9.8s. And look, this 5-year-old book with a 9.8, not even a first appearance, selling for $329. That's big.
Indeed it is. And it goes to what you're saying. Again, people are moving on to the next thing that they can afford, because Young Avengers #1 is true, that thing. And it's only going to go up because you just had Patriot.
Patriot. Yep.
That's a snore.
Wiccan.
Yeah, I mean, like you have they're putting them together, and it's going to be interesting. On top of the, you're going to have Kamala, who's not necessarily in the Young Avengers, but they may do something a little bit differently. You may have you're going to have Riri. You're going to have this, a slew of new characters, and it's just a super exciting time. And again, people are looking towards the next thing that they can jump on before it gets out of reach. And I think somebody said it best. It was, snag it while you can, because now's the time. Even though it's probably the train is about to leave. Well, $300 for CGC 9.8 is insane.
Well, this is another thing, and this is what I say about these 9.8s, especially with modern books like this. Don't just if you want a 9.8 of a book like this, my recommendation, again, it's my humble opinion. First off, find this book in the wild. Go to your local shops. Dig in the back issue bins because they could still have them priced, $5, maybe $10.
There's probably a lot still out there, yes.
Yep. But go for a raw high grade that you might be able to press and clean spend that $30 to go send it to CGC or CBCS or whatever, wherever you want to send it to, and try to get that 9.8. Because right now, like I said, the demand for the 9.8 is crazy. You could spend, you know, a small portion of that money to trying to, you know, be on the hunt for this book in a high grade raw and do what you need to do to, you know, try to push and get that 9.8 if you send it in yourself.
Yep. Well said. Pat, any thoughts on, I mean, you actually, you said it, you love Haley Steinfeld. So you're psyched, and this is probably a book you'd be looking out for as well.
For sure. And also, you know, I just feel like I'm excited for Hawkeye to get like some light, you know what I mean? Cause he kind of felt he got like pushed aside a lot of the times in the movies and stuff like that. And so I think it's going to be good for the character in general. Yeah, definitely.
No doubt. You know, with Clint Barton Hawkeye, he was his first, like, Avengers was, I guess, his first appearance in the films, even though he had a small part in Thor.
Cameo in Thor,
30 seconds,
but he was just like definitely he was just an ancillary character and really kind of integrated himself more as, you know, the MCU went along. So I'm psyched he's getting his own series. I'm psyched that we're going to see a Kate Bishop. It's going to be, man, it's just such an awesome time to be a comic book fan, guys. It really is. Exactly. It really is. You know, but right there, that ends our top 10 hottest comics of the week.